Ribbit, ribbit. It's a needle-felted frog. How did we make this? Let's find out. Hey, I'm Duthie and I'm here to help you craft your career with creative marketing and artistic inspiration. And it's a Thursday, so it's another needle felting tutorial. Every Thursday I make videos like this, so if this is something you're interested in, don't forget, come back every Thursday. And stay to the end of today's video because I've got a little exciting announcement that might be fun for some of you UK needle felters. So, how did we make this frog? A leopard frog, to be specific. So the first thing, like all my larger critters to make, is to study the animal that I'm going to be making, and specifically to look at the skeleton and the structure of this animal. So that's the very first thing I did, was got some pictures of frog skeletons, printed them out and made myself an armature of a frog skeleton using the Tesco's garden wire that I reviewed in a previous video. And then wrapping that armature with a nice layer of fleece. This is the World of Wool Carded White Corriedale Bats. And after a bit of felting, at this stage, this is what I gave a sneak peek of on my Sunday live stream, and everyone thought he looked a bit like a gecko, which he totally did, which is really interesting how similarly many animals are built. But then to make him more frog-like, it is just adding the muscle and the fat everywhere that it's got to go. If you've got the skeleton right, then the animal's going to work out pretty well. So rolling out extra thick muscle fat pads to go onto the top of the legs, the bottom of the legs, on his belly, padding out more on his underside than on his top at the minute, and at the sides as well to make him nice and kind of fat. And then once I've put on these kind of fat pads or muscle pads, I tend to wrap a thin layer of the fleece over the top. This helps it hold together and makes it easier to felt. And I think of it as adding muscles and fat and then skin. And then several hours of felting to get this smooth. So after a few hours felting, this is what we've got. When you're felting the legs, try and make a point on the knees and hocks, I suppose that's what we'll call it on a frog. The shape of his body, he gets fatter in the middle and tapers out. It almost feels like to a V here. And his legs, when we felt them in, frog's legs are really weird in that the hock tucks in sort of higher than the knee and then the foot tucks in under it. That's kind of how a frog's leg works, which is rather bizarre. But I hope you can see that just by using the right shaped armature, you pretty much get the right shaped beastie, the right shaped animal. So what we're going to do a little bit more work on his mouth. I've worked him in with a nice chin here, but frogs kind of have double chins. So let's add a wee bit more underneath his chin area. Just a little bit of fluff here. And they don't really come in here either. They don't come in for their neck, so padding that out a little. So it's sort of narrower at the very mouth and then it starts to come down into a double chin. They also have a slight sort of hump on the back. Partly this can be got by twisting the pelvis, and then at this point I'm just going to add a little bit more, roughly about here. I'm going to make his eyes so I can start to get a feel of where everything is now, and that's just going to be 2 balls of white for now. And to test the size, just roll them up as tight as you can, and that'll be about the size they come to. That looks pretty good. So the eyes are just back a bit and slightly in on the head. And we'll make the eyelids to try and hold them in position as well. So this is the green I'm going to be using for the tops of the frog. I don't make frogs very often, so I don't have much greens, so this is the one I've got. Like any eyelids, I'm just taking a nice piece, folding it on my needle to give a flat edge, and felting that flat edge between my fingers. Because this is a bit thin and wispy the way I've done it, I'm just thickening it up by felting along in this direction, which compresses it. So your needle can really help change the shape of something. And the eyes are quite open, so the eyelids come back a wee bit. So just popping it over like this. A little cloak for the eyes. And I'm just going to want to cover in the green everything up to a kind of midway point. Make a line about here and just cover with green everything. Because this colour has a blend of blues and yellows and greens, I'm thinking when I lay it down in the direction of laying the strips flowing in the direction of the body, which is going to help sort of shade it as well. As if you were colouring it in with a pen or pencil or chalk or something, you would think of the shape of the animal as you were shading. Exactly the same with these bats. If they've got differences in colours, it can really help to add depth to the project. Right, let's go and felt this firm. Right, so I've got a bit of the green with some yellow, and I'm just blending them together. I want to make a mainly yellow iris to the eye. So picking out the most yellowy bits. So I'm keeping it in a line like this, and I want to try and paint it on in circular fashion. So going round the outside of the eye. The centre doesn't matter because that's going to be the pupil anyway, but just trying to get the edge right. Two black pupils. Now these frogs have a ridge that goes down their back, but it also, the line goes through their eyes, which is really weird. So I'm taking a wee piece of white and rolling it into a straight-ish line, and the same on the other side. And I'm just going to put it right across. Needs to be bigger than I thought it would, because the eye's pretty big. Take it right across the eyeball. This is such a weird feature. And then I'm going to make this strip for running down the back just by twisting and stabbing to hold. It's about the right length. So just coming from behind the eye and down the back, trying to keep this narrow, and then at this bum lump it kind of comes out round and down to the bum. going to sort out his pose a little better. So the front legs come down the way, and then I want the feet to turn in. And the back legs, this little, what would be the hock on another animal, pops up the way. And the foot goes under that, off to the side. Can even go through and felt them together a little bit so it all stays put. I'll secure that even more later, but just now we want to add his spots. Okay, another half hour felting this all together and I'll be back. So I hope that helped inspire you to help you make yourself your own little froggy. So the exciting news that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, a great opportunity for any UK needle felters or anyone willing to travel. But the girls from the Makers, if you haven't already, check out the video of me reviewing the box from the Makers that they kindly sent me a few months ago. Well, they are doing a needle felting getaway. So this sounds really awesome. It's going to be a few workshops, but it's a few days away with some like-minded needle felters, a few projects to work on, and the price seems pretty reasonable too. So I'll leave links below. So if you're interested in that, don't forget to tell the girls from the Makers that Pam Duthie sent you, and feel free to share pictures of what you made on this wonderful break. I really wish I was going myself, maybe next time. Anyway, if that was all helpful, don't forget, click on my wee face to subscribe, check out the video that YouTube wants you to watch, and come back every Thursday. Thank you so much.